As was said the other day, even though there are still questions yet unanswered, such as, what is it that arises when stillness and movement meet? What's your relationship with life now? How do we know when we're in a state of Satchitananda? What is it that's present when we are in that state? But it's time to open another link in that seemingly endless chain that is the way of stories. But to do so, we need to bring a circle around that creates an aperture for us to pass into. So there are several stories that allow questions to arise that are really the same question. So let's see what comes up for us when we put these two simple stories together. There was a great teacher called Saku. Now Saku was present just after Hinduism had spawned Buddhism. And there were a number of great teachers at that time who had significant powers called siddhis that seemed to arise just at that cusp when this great new force arrived through the Buddha. Now Saku had a number of students. They were young Brahmins of the priestly caste. And although a number of them were of this priestly caste, they were quite simple folks, not wealthy. But amongst the group, there was the son of a king called Janaka. And very often, when Saku was giving his dissertations, if Janaka had not arrived, he would wait for him, which he didn't do with any of the other students. And often when he was giving his learned discourses, he would direct his attention at Janaka. Now one day, Saku overheard the other students remarking that this is what their teacher did, and they decided that it was because they were just simple Brahmins and Janaka was the son of a king, a prince. So having overheard this, Saku decided to teach them a lesson. So one day he began a very profound and learned talk, a philosophical talk on spirituality. And in the midst of that talk, using his great powers, he made it appear that the city that could be seen outside his window was aflame, burning. And since his students were not totally absorbed in this profound talk, they could see out of the window that their city was ablaze. And each had their own thoughts about the possessions that were going up in flames. So they whispered amongst themselves that their teacher would not notice if they slipped away to take care of their prized possessions. So all the students, except Janaka, left. And Saku proceeded with his learned discourse. But, of course, the students arrived at the city to find that it was not on fire, So they crept back into their teacher's presence, somewhat chastened by this experience. But after Saku had completed his discourse, he said to those students, "Now perhaps you will know why my attention is given more to Janaka." And he turned to Janaka and he said, "Janaka, tell your fellow students why you did not leave to take care of your possessions." This is the first question. What was the answer Janaka gave to his fellow students? And the second story is that story of the great Sufi sheikh who was planning a reception. And so he gathered all of his dervish students around him, and he said, "In order to make a suitable feast, I direct each one of you to go and take a chicken and slaughter and defeather it in a place where no one and nothing is present, and bring it back to be prepared for our feast." All of the students went off, and one of them, called Ahmed, went to his house. He went to the kitchen. He went to a closet. He found solitary places. And then he climbed a mountain and entered a dark cave. But by this time the day had passed, and all the other students had returned to their master with their slaughtered and defeathered chickens. But they waited for Ahmed, and as the sun was setting, Ahmed came with a squawking live chicken under his arm, and all the other students laughed at him and called him Abdal, which in their language meant fool. And the master said, "Oh, wait, Abdal in our language means fool, but in another language it means one who is awakened, enlightened. Tell us, Akbar, why have you bought a live chicken, unslaughtered and unfeathered?" This is the second question. What did Ahmed reply to the group as an explanation why he bought back the live chicken, being unable to find a place where no one was present? What did Janaka say to the other students about why he did not flee to save his possessions? Why did Ahmed find it impossible to find a place where there was no one and no thing? What is this circle that's brought around for us? It opens an aperture through which we can pass into the next link of our chain.
multiple choice.
Whatever comes to you.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because when I started thinking about those answers, three things came.
Uh-huh.
And so when he didn't run for his clothes and his possessions, etc., first thing that came to mind is that he's detached and he didn't worry about them. Second thing was that the universe provides for him, so it doesn't matter. And the third thing is he probably knew it was a test.
Mm-hmm.
The two things that came to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But the common link is knowing and realization.
Uh-huh. Common link between the two stories, yes. What is it about this place? It's called Satchitananda, where the three levels of existence merge. What have you found about life now?
Sacrifices really mean nothing to the universe of the gods.
Uh-huh.
It's your consciousness that counts. And your spiritual side, so anything that's material is really pointless. It's your spiritual side or your consciousness side that is the ultramost important thing.
Right.
Yeah. Killing lives of animals for sacrifices is not the way to go.
No.
No.
So let's see where these two stories lead us. As we know, the way of stories working inside. Or is it inside or outside? I wonder.
It's inside. It's funny he came back with the chicken and they criticised him for not doing what he was told.
Yes.
But then again, maybe he actually thought about it, because his second name was Wisdom or something, whatever it was. And so probably thought about it, and he says, what's the point in killing a chicken? What's that going to achieve?
Yes,
And, where he read between the lines of what the master was trying to get at.
and the master said to go and find a place where there is nothing and no one present. What have you learned about life now?
That's his phrase.
Next thing.
Never learn.
Illusion.
Illusion. Uh-huh.
Oneness and surrender.
Right.
And there's presence and energy and consciousness everywhere.
Everywhere. Is there anywhere that you can go?
No, you have to find it internally.
Okay. So what's the first story about then?
The city in flames was an illusion.
Yes. Yes. But something else to do just with these words also. Where do you find yourself in life now? Here.
Destruction and decay.
Yes. But can you go anywhere?
No, we're attached to a lot of us.
Here, isn't it? Nowness. His fixation on the dissertation of his teacher was all that was real for him at that moment.
He wasn't distracted.
He wasn't distracted. Isn't that how we find ourselves now?
What's important?
What's important?
The point.
What is it?
Everything is God. Everything
Here, now.
No, he knew he'd be looked after if he just kept on doing what he was doing.
No, right.
In fact, if knowing that everything is God, everything that happens to us now is not to be put away, because in this faith that it's for every point he does put us here now, it's really now that everything is happening.
Okay. So how have we really brought the circle around, I wonder? Where do these two stories meet?
Following
Internally.
the spirit and denying the flesh.
All right.
Materialism.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Well, it's about going internal instead of chasing the external. It's about going
All
internal.
right. Okay. Okay.
But there's no outside and inside.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So how have we brought the circle around?
Stillness and movement.
All right. Okay.